Yum yum. Eat chihuahua.
Check it out. It's like a huge Ewok. It's a giant stuffed Ewok. It's so fluffy! Oh wait, lost his head. Anyway, there he is. Look at it. Say goodbye.
Yum yum.
Hi folks. Welcome back to another video. Today it's going to be the light side of Disney. Woohoo! I'm going to try to put myself in a Disney supporter, an EU hater's shoes. I'm going to try to think what they are thinking, because we need to put ourselves in their shoes if we're going to understand them. So, let's see, for motivation here. I hate the EU. It was a stupid idea anyway. Disney did a good idea getting rid of it all. Well, I don't know what you're crying about. Disney's going to be great. We're going to have episode 7. It's going to be great. And don't you talk about Clone Wars. And don't you talk about Disney. Don't you talk bad about them. How dare you? I mean, I can talk bad about the expanded universe, but you can't talk bad about Disney. I hate people talk. Whoa, that was kind of scary. Maybe I shouldn't put that on again. Anyway, folks, I did the dark side of Disney, and people were like, wait, does he really hate Disney that much? Remember, I was giving my opinion on why I'm not going into the new Disney empire for Star Wars. I won't try to repeat myself too much here, but if they didn't give the expanded universe a chance, then why should I give them a chance? I just don't understand that. But, like I said, if you want to see episode 7, if you want to go into it, that is fine. Remember, I've always said that. I don't mind at all. That comes down to opinion. And that was my opinion. Yours may be different. Some of you who subscribe, that is your different opinion. And that's fine. Again, I have no problem with that. But, do I hate Disney? Well, not as a company in general. I mean, I've seen a lot of their movies. I've enjoyed a lot of their movies. I've seen the Marvel movies before. They've been fun. I watch them about once. They're like popcorn movies. I don't own any of them, but I go to see them or I rent them, and they're fine for what they are. But overall, Disney's not that bad. Now, Disney Star Wars, that's what I don't like as much. Why? Because they have no respect for my expanded universe. They even try to give it a chance to continue the storylines in it. So, and I love the expanded universe more than I love Disney. So that's kind of how it goes there. So, not a Disney hater per se, I guess. But we want to talk about other things here. A few weeks ago, I heard an argument, and they were saying, well, what's wrong with a reboot? Everyone has a reboot. Yeah, now everyone has a reboot. Every franchise has a reboot. But Star Wars didn't. And that's what made it unique. Remember my quote a couple of weeks ago? Leland Chi talking about the uniqueness of Star Wars that's never had a reboot and it never will? Well, of course, that was back in the George Lucas era when he could say that, because George Lucas wasn't going to let it reboot. However, Disney said, all right, reboot it. Let's start over again. And so I said, well, reboots aren't that bad. Well, we can't talk about reboots in film because they're not really rebooting the films, are they? No. And with a reboot on the film, as you know, it's hit or miss anyway. But that's besides the point. We need to talk about books, where there's really nothing to compare it to. And I actually told someone that, and they said, well, wait, comic books. Comic books do reboots all the time, and their sales are up. So I said, okay, I'll look into it. And I did. And what do you know? Comic book sales are higher than they've ever been before. Hooray! Oh, wait a minute. Doggone it, inflation, right? In the 90s, we had about 6 comic book shops here, I remember. And now, we only have 1. But yet, if comic book sales are up, highest they've ever been, how come we still have 1? How come a lot of the other bigger cities only have 1 or 2 as well? There's not that many comic book shops as there used to be. Well, what happened if we're making more sales? Perhaps we should count units? Maybe. If we count units sold in the 90s, they were selling over 100 million comic books. 100 million! That's incredible. That's awesome. And I'd love to see comic books return to their glory days. I'd love that. Unfortunately, they're not. In 2010, they were selling only 69 million. That's a 31% drop, right? 31 million. Not bad, but not that good either. Still a big drop. Now in 2010, of course, that's when digital comics started taking effect. And that did give it a boost. I think it's around 80 million units right now. That's good. Still not what it was 2 decades ago almost. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Why is the comic book industry failing to sell that many comic books? Why are they slowly just getting rid of people? They had a boost just recently thanks to digital comic books. I'm very thankful for that, right? I am a fan of comic books. Well, it's because of the reboot. Every time you reboot, you ostracize a portion of your audience. And they're no longer interested. Like, man, I can't do this again. Or, well, this is my stopping place. I'm off. I'm out. Now, one of the biggest culprits of that in the comic book world is DC Comics, right? They reboot every 3 or 4 years. And on their recent reboot, the New 52, back in 2011, it worked. Look at these numbers. In September 2011, DC Comics was #1 for the first time in years. I mean, they had 8 of the top 10 comic books, all DC. They had the #1 comic book in Justice League #1. Unfortunately, in December 2011, only 4 months later, they lost their lead and things went back to normal. Marvel was #1. Okay? Now you say, oh, that's because of the movies. No, Marvel's always been leading them for decades. Okay? For a long time, Marvel's always been leading it. It was before the movies started being big. But what did that do to DC's market share? All right, let's look at some of the market share numbers. I have them here. Let me see, September of last year, their market share was 45.17%. December of last year, 31.13%. January of this year, 30.77%. And May of this year, 23.65%. Downward trend. Now, as we all know at Comic-Con, DC is going to be doing another reboot again. It's going to be so much fun. And they're going to be #1 for a short time and drop back down. Marvel has done a few soft reboots, meaning like the Ultimates storyline and other things like that. I don't know what they're doing right now with Thor being a woman and the Falcon being Captain America. But even Joey Quesada hinted at a Marvel Universe reboot coming next year as well. So who knows what's going to happen. But it's going to ostracize portions of the audience. Because when you reboot, it's like, man, I wasted all this time. I spent all this money. I have all these books. And now you're going to start all over again? I can't do it anymore. I'm tired of this. It becomes meaningless after that. Now, hopefully with the sale of digital comic books, hopefully with the movies coming out, comic books will rise again and catch back up to where they were in the 90s. That's what we're trying to catch up to the numbers in the past. That's how far behind we are. So they've got a long way to travel. But reboots generally hurt the business. When we're talking about book parts. Now I know that's kind of hard to explain because this is comic books. We're talking about books. Star Wars does have comic books as well, which are being rebooted. But that's the closest example that we could find thanks to the person submitting that comment about it. Now, other things I'd like to talk about is, of course, our Rebel Ray this past week. It was wonderful. Thank you for the hundreds of people who posted on the Face Star Wars book page. That was awesome. You did a great job. It was well more than I thought we could get. And did you notice they sent a response? Now, I'm sure you've all read it, and I'm going to go over the brief points of it. It says, hey, we read your responses, and we loved Legends too. Oh well, they're gone. Here's something you did not want, which is an excerpt of the new book, which is not Legends. It ticked a lot of people off, but I actually kind of found it funny. See, did they really read it? Or did they just not understand? That's not what we were wanting at all. So I don't know if the message was confusing, or they really didn't read it, or they just like, we still can't say anything, so we're just going to give us the same jargon we've kept giving you. Fans, don't be discouraged. You know what? We rallied the troops, and we're still rallying them. We're still recruiting. I am shocked at how many people are still signing on to the Facebook pages. Thank you, everyone who subscribed to the videos. Thank you. I mean that. I love every one of your comments. Your comments are encouraging me to continue on. So everyone who subscribed, a big thank you. Hey, those of you that I've talked on Skype, I've had the best time these past few weeks. Get to know each and every one of you. You know something I figured out? We are a very imaginative, a very creative group. And I'm just blown away at people who are doing their own podcasts, building their own websites, writing their own fiction, making their own awesome tribute videos, or making their own awesome card game on their own. It's so detailed. All of these things that I've been seeing, I've been blown away. I'm like, wow, what a talented bunch you are. And that shouldn't surprise me, because that's what the expanded universe encouraged in all of us, right? That's what inspired us to do these things. Folks, we're just growing more and more every day. I'm actually getting new people involved in the expanded universe. I introduced 3 people to the expanded universe this past month, and they've been like, wow, this is really good. They got rid of this, calling it non-canon? Yeah, they did. That's unbelievable. I'm going to join your cause. Thank you. Yeah, go out there, recruit someone. Heck, if each one of us recruit just one person, we'll double our numbers instantly. And then I guarantee you, they will be understanding what we mean next time, right? Folks, it has been an honor to talk to each and every one of you. I look forward to more posts, more comments, me doing more videos. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I know I've said this before, but you are indeed the EU rebellion. And next time, they won't just read our comments. They'll be listening too. See you next week.